When Netflix dropped its 2026 adaptation of Little House on the Prairie, the internet almost immediately fractured into two camps. On one side, viewers tuned in for a cozy return to the original tradwife aesthetic. On the other, angry commentators warned the streamer not to wokeify the frontier. This fierce backlash happens because the Little House franchise is a multi-generational sacred cow. For decades, millions of mothers and daughters have bonded over Laura Ingalls Wilder's vivid descriptions of pioneer domesticity, the churned butter, the calico sunbonnets, and the sheer resilience of a family surviving on the plains. Yet that cozy memory collided with modern sensibilities in 2018, when the American Library Association stripped Wilder's name from a major children's literature award. They cited the book's deeply troubling and stereotypical depictions of Native Americans. The 2026 series highlights a specific historical tension. The Ingalls family got their home in Kansas on the Osage Diminished Reserve, a territory the U.S. government had legally recognized as belonging to the Osage Nation. This reboot leans into that friction, presenting a frontier that is as gritty as it is wholesome. It uses the Ingalls family to explore the messy, often violent realities hidden behind the iconic pop culture memory of American expansion. The wholesome, sanitized image of the American pioneer is largely a Hollywood invention, cemented by the 1970s television series and Michael Landon's eternally cheerful, clean-shaven portrayal of Pa Ingalls. But the roots of this idealized patriarch go back to Wilder's original novels, published during the Great Depression. To help a desperate nation cope, her books championed a strict emotional stoicism, teaching young readers that suppressing your feelings and keeping a stiff upper lip was the only way to survive. This stoicism fed directly into the American ideology of rugged individualism, the belief that a lone, entirely self-reliant man could conquer the wild and provide for his family without any government assistance or communal support. Historical accounts from the 1890s tell a vastly different story. The crushing isolation of homesteading on the treeless, windswept plains was so severe that it literally drove alarming numbers of immigrant farmers and their wives to insanity. The real Charles Ingalls was a failed farmer and a compulsive wanderer. Because he lacked a legal title to the land he claimed, his constant migrations effectively made him a squatter, dragging his wife and daughters into squalid, unnecessary danger. The Lone Pioneer was a pretty story invented to mask immense historical trauma. Out on the plains, trying to make it alone was a death sentence. Survival absolutely required community. That same myth-making extended to the people who were already living there. Wilder's published novels frequently described Native Americans with dehumanizing, animalistic stereotypes, famously claiming the family traveled to a place where there were no people, only Indians. Yet Wilder's original handwritten drafts are surprisingly complicated. Before they were heavily edited for publication, her early pages featured a beloved Osage man acting as a hero, and even showed her father actively questioning the morality of their westward expansion. The Ingalls family built their cabin within the borders of the Osage Diminished Reserve, a territory legally occupied by a sovereign nation and protected by treaty. Despite that treaty, thousands of white squatters deliberately crossed the border and encroached on this specific territory, eventually forcing the Osage people to abandon their homes and move even further west. The new Netflix series restores this buried truth by introducing a parallel Osage family who become deeply intertwined with the Ingalls family, mirroring their struggles and humanizing the people who were displaced. Integrating Black and Indigenous characters restores the actual demographics of the 1870s, filling in the historical gaps left by a century of narrative erasure. Remarkably, placing the Ingalls in this historically accurate, perilous context doesn't destroy the charm of the original story. The family's warmth, decency, and love for one another still anchor every scene. But the central lesson has evolved. The show makes it explicitly clear that surviving the American West was achieved through mutual aid, shared resources, and reliance on diverse neighbors. Some readers try to protect children by skipping over the racist passages in Wilder's old books, or literally blacking out the uncomfortable paragraphs. But ignoring the ugly parts of our history only ensures we learn nothing from them. When we finally engage with the messy, morally fraught reality of the 1870s, the Ingalls' struggle to build a life on the prairie actually becomes much more compelling. Little House on the Prairie remains the ultimate American creation myth. By allowing it to be complicated, dangerous, and morally conflicted, it ceases to be a dusty relic of childhood nostalgia and becomes a vital lens for understanding who we are today.